Have you ever experienced the death of someone you loved? Yes? So have I. Although death and grief connects us all, we have done a pretty good job of stuffing death in the closet. Well, death has emerged from that murky closet. You might not find death in the closet, but you will certainly find death online. It turns out that death isn't the only one who is online. According to the Pew Research Center, which has been studying social media use among teens and adults, the number of people who are connecting online has significantly increased in a very short period of time. We all live and die in the digital world. Teaching college, I teach mostly young adults who are between their teen years and true adulthood, something I haven't found for myself yet. These are the growth-enhancing, exploration-seeking, road-ahead years. During these years, there's plenty of instability in lifestyle and quite a lot of soul-searching for one's true sense of identity. All of this soul-searching and instability can loosen connections between one's family and friends and other important people in one's life. It is also true that this is prominent for other age groups as well, but they are most significant for 18 to 24 years of age. There also is plenty of loss during this period of time. Have you ever had a loved one die during 18 to 24 years of age? During this period of time when there is so much loss, you find that many people are in the same boat. In my research and of those of others, we have found that fully 1/3 of college students have suffered the loss in any given year. I was one of those grieving students, and so I'd like to begin with my own story. This is a picture of Maureen. I met her my first week of college in my biology class, and we took an instant liking to one another. During college, she became my closest, dearest friend, my first genuine adult friendship. During that period of time, I was plagued with self-doubt. Maureen believed in me and offered so much encouragement and support. When we weren't hanging out together, we were spending hours talking on the phone because those were the days before Facebook Messenger and texting. Mostly, it was about invertebrate biology. Really, it was about boys. All of that ended on a snowy Boston interstate when Maureen went over an embankment when she was trying to pass a truck. I will never forget the phone call that I received from my mother. I was in my first year of graduate school. I was stressed out by the rigorous coursework and very lonely. During the course of that semester, I plunged into a dungeon of despair and became fearful that I was losing my mind. I tried to reach out to others, but when I came home from the funeral, only a few people were willing to listen to my story, which admittedly I tried to tell with unbearable repetition. I lost my connections, none with my friends, none with my professors, nor with the medical or mental health professionals who didn't know how to help me, locked in my grief and fearful that I was losing my sanity. I did manage to slog my way through that horrible semester, and eventually I even earned my degree. I dedicated my dissertation to Maureen, even though the topic had nothing to do with death. Flash forward a couple of years later, my first years as a college professor, life was good. I was married, I was planning a family, and I was enjoying my teaching. and I was given the opportunity to write a chapter for a textbook. It was to be the last chapter in the textbook because both of the authors considered the topic to be toxic. Given that the book was about the human life cycle, you guessed it, the chapter was about death, the final chapter. I was eager for a resume build, so I agreed to write the chapter. And I went down to the basement so that I would not see the blue summer sky and the green grass of a Wisconsin summer calling my name. I even had to lug books down into that basement because there was no Google to look for stuff. And thank goodness there was no social media to distract me. At the end of the summer, I emerged with a 100-page manuscript, fully twice as much as what I had been asked to write. The heart of the chapter was about grief and loss. It was about how we cut off communication and connection with people in a death-avoidant society. How we first circle the wagons around the mourner, but then we isolate them in their sadness in that loss. It was such a relief to learn that what I had experienced was shared by others. I felt connected to that larger truth, and it emerged into a resolve to teach others, particularly young adults, about death, dying, and loss. And here are some of the lessons that I learned along the way. I learned that grievers need affirmation that their sense of loss and the emotional and physical pain is real and that others recognize it. I learned that mourners have a natural resilience that can be harnessed and supported when they make a connection with others. Here is one of my favorite paintings about grief. It is called Tragedy, and you might be surprised to learn that it was actually painted by Pablo Picasso. You see, Picasso's younger sister died when Picasso was the tender age of 14, and in a way, he never got over it. Can you all relate to this picture? The drooping shoulders, the head, the blueness, and the little boy with his hand on his father's thigh, wanting connection. It is universal. And so I teach about the grief process and the tools that mourners can use to harness their natural resilience and capacity for making sense out of it all. I teach non-mourners how to connect with grievers, that they should not avoid the griever, that they should actually mention the name of the deceased person, for in most cultures, that helps the mourner. It's not like you're reminding the mourner that that person has died. They haven't forgotten that sad fact. I teach the helpers that saying, "I know how you feel," is not okay. And I emphasize the fact that people don't grieve in neatly packaged stages that end with you breaking the bond with your loved one. Rather, the need to make that connection is real with your mourner and it's your dead one, and it's really important. Connection is hard in a death-avoidant culture. Adolescents and young adults in particular move in spaces that offer little words for solace, little comfort, and lack the social skills to offer comfort to others and face-to-face. We lose our connection in a death-avoidant society. But there is a place where those connections are being made, the digital world. I have learned that what is posted online provides an outlet for social interaction, for support from family and friends, for posting memories of the deceased loved ones. It is a place where you can actually put what we call linking objects. You know these: a piece of jewelry that your loved one wears, a song that you two share, a commemorative tattoo, your father's favorite chess set, a grave marker that you can visit and talk to. I was left with nothing tangible of Maureen, just a few letters that were stuffed in a box in my closet, and a precious few pictures that a dear friend sent from her wedding. When we go online, we can tell our story, and we can always find someone who is willing to listen. Of course, some of those others may be mean, but many are kind and compassionate in a way that they wouldn't be when confronted with you face to face. These are the others who are willing to listen to your story. These are the others who can offer support and information. These are the others who will be available to you anytime, in the day or the night, in the quiet, in the dark. Just you and the monitor. There are so many ways in which this is happening. There were virtual memorials, online support groups, Skyped-in funerals, blogs, TED Talks. You can text about the deceased. And of course, we have those social media sites where you can post online about your deceased loved one and where you can tell your story. When we go online, we can tell our story, and we can always find someone who is willing to listen, even the dead themselves. For example, researchers on a social media site have found postings such as these. I love you so much. Hey, everyone down here misses you so much. I've been thinking about you every day. I've made lots of friends now this year, and I hope you made new friends in heaven. In 16 days, it has been a whole year. I can't believe it. I want you to know that you are thought about all the time down here, and especially lately with your birthday on March 22nd. I love you so much, and I hope you realize that everyone does. If the mourner becomes fearful that they are going to be forgotten or their loved one is going to be forgotten, they can always repost as an option. And if your loved one social Facebook page is not memorialized, we will get these reminders that to wish so-and-so a happy birthday, in perpetuity it seems. We can achieve digital immortality. I'm not sure how I feel about that one. In my own research, my students and I have become interested in the pictures that people post online about their loved ones who have died. So we asked our Facebook friends to send us a copy of that picture, why they picked that particular picture, what they wrote, and the comments and reactions they received. We also asked them how they felt about those reactions. Mostly what we found is that people wanted to post a happier time and to get some social support and to publicly display their emotions. I post this picture in honor of my grandmother's beautiful life. He was happy and surrounded by his grandchildren and my grandma. Miss you more each day, Mom. What I would do to hold your hand just one more time. We also found that people posted pictures to memorialize a special occasion. Happy birthday, Dad. It was the day of her memorial service, honoring his 1 year of being gone. People also said that they posted their pictures because they wanted to get support from somebody. They wanted to get recognition about this loss. And they noticed all the likes and the hearts that they got. Some people said that they really didn't care. They just wanted to share their experience. But it was certainly noticed when people didn't respond. A lot less than expected. No one cared. In this new world of grief and bereavement, we never have to feel disconnected. We can always find someone who is willing to listen to our story. We call it the network for technology, but it is also a network for those who are left behind to grieve. For teens and young adults in particular, the shame of tears, the isolation of sadness and loss, the sense of disengagement need not occur because of this digital world. In my own grief, I felt disconnected, discombobulated, and disenfranchised. Because no one was willing to listen to my story, I lost that sense of connection and myself in the process. Now, at least, with the digital world, there is a place where we can go. Of course, nothing replaces the warmth of a hug or the comfort of somebody standing by your side when you are grieving, but at least we have the digital world. In a way, my entire career was built out of that first intense loss experience. Because no one was willing to listen to my story, and again, I tried to tell it with unbearable repetition, I lost my sense of self and my sense of connection. Now, as a college professor, I have a captive audience that has to listen to my story. But I often wonder what it would have been like if Maureen had died today. Most likely, I would have posted something on Facebook. And I think it would have looked like this. My best friend Maureen died today. I can't believe it. She was a daughter, a sister, and a college graduate. She had wanderlust in the worst way. She was kind and funny and smart. She loved to sing Close to You by the Carpenters, and she never cared that she was out of tune. But most of all, she was my best friend. And I can't wrap my head around the fact that I cannot call her up and yell at her for not wearing a seatbelt in a snowstorm. It hurts more than I can imagine, and I need a hug. Comments. I am so sorry for your loss. Sending you a virtual hug. Maureen, OMG! 52 likes, 65 cry faces, 40 hearts. Thank you.